Welcome back to The Explainer. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, you've probably seen those insane highlight reel finishes that leave the entire crowd just completely speechless. Well, today we're decoding the raw science behind that crazy knockout power. We're going to discover exactly how biomechanics unlock peak physical performance, totally change how we should be training in the gym, and ultimately how to build vastly better techniques inside the ring.
Okay, let's dive into this because it challenges literally one of the biggest myths in combat sports. I mean, we've all seen it, right? A super lean, lightweight cracking the heavy bag, and it sounds like a gunshot. Meanwhile, a massive guy with huge biceps hits it with all his might, and it's got the pop of a wet pillow. It turns out, power isn't actually a muscular strength problem at all. It's this fascinating biomechanical physics problem.
To completely reframe how we think about throwing a strike, we have to look at this absolutely brilliant quote from former boxer and physicist Ed Lattimore. He says, "Your arm is the bullet. Your body is the gun." Think about that for a second. It honestly doesn't matter how fast a bullet could theoretically move on its own. Without the explosive, heavy force of the gun firing it, it's just not going to do much damage. Your arms don't actually generate the force of a punch, they just transmit that force into the target.
Section 1. The physics of power, specifically effective mass.
So what physically causes a knockout? What's the real mechanism there? The secret sauce is what physicists call effective mass. Basically, this is the portion of your body's mass that's perfectly aligned and moving together at the exact split second of impact. If you just swing your arm out there, your effective mass is incredibly low. You're basically just slapping someone with the weight of your arm. But if you drive off the ground and rotate your torso perfectly, your effective mass suddenly includes your arm, your core, and the massive forward momentum of your entire body.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer scale of the force we're talking about. Research actually shows that for an 80-kilogram fighter, a properly thrown straight punch can deliver up to 30 kilograms of effective mass directly into the target. To put that into perspective, that is almost 40% of the fighter's total body weight, completely concentrated into a tiny surface area the exact size of your knuckles. You simply cannot achieve that without absolutely perfect structural alignment.
Section 2. Mastering the Kinetic Chain.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we actually get that 30 kilograms of mass behind a punch. We rely on what's called proximal to distal sequencing. Just think of it as a wave of energy flowing upward through your body. First, your legs violently push against the ground to create a reaction force. Second, your hips rotate, snapping that linear push into rotational momentum. Third, your torso catches that momentum, stretching and snapping exactly like a coiled spring. And finally, the shoulder and arm extend out, just riding that massive wave of energy to deliver the final force.
If you've ever doubted the importance of the lower body in throwing a punch, get a load of this. Biomechanical studies reveal that nearly 40% of your punching force actually comes from your legs driving into the ground. 40%! Leg drive literally matters far more than your upper body size. If your feet are flat, or say your knees are locked up, that energy dies before it ever even reaches your waist, which completely sabotages your physical performance right out of the gate.
Moving to Section 3, the elite technique, the double pulse.
So producing the force is kind of only half the battle. Delivering it at lightning speed is where the real magic happens. And you know, long before scientists were hooking MMA athletes up to EMG machines in a lab, traditional martial arts understood this deeply. Just look at the old masters of traditional jiu-jitsu. They understood that true speed and leverage require a very delicate balance of complete muscular relaxation right up until the exact moment of impact.
And modern science totally backs this up. If you are stiff and tense throughout a whole punch, your own muscles are actively fighting against your movement. You're basically hitting the gas and the brakes at the same time, slowing yourself down and leaking energy. But elite fighters? They use this double pulse technique. They rapidly contract their muscles to initiate the movement, instantly relax to allow for that fast whip-like speed, and then violently contract again right at the moment of impact to create a rigid, rock-solid structure.
Look at that massive dip right in the middle of the activation data. You have the initial stiffening to push off, sure. But that relaxation phase right there in the center, that is the absolute key to fast, whip-like speed. Without the ability to instantly relax your core in the middle of a strike, your punches will always end up being pushed, super slow, and honestly, really easily telegraphed to your opponent.
Section 4. How to train like a knockout artist.
So how do we actually take all this biomechanical science and translate it into actionable training? How do we build better technique?
Well, you need really specific movements. Rotational medicine ball throws are fantastic because they teach your body to sequence that force from the ground right up through the hips. Plyometric push-ups build your rate of force development in your upper body. Landmine presses bridge the gap by combining horizontal pushing force with a rotational pivot. And wall sprints, they train those explosive, rapid ground contact forces, which is exactly what you're doing when you push off your rear foot for a cross.
So the crucial point is this: if you want to hit harder, you have to stop training like a traditional bodybuilder. Slow, heavy, isolated lifting actually ruins your speed and coordination in the ring. What you really need is ballistic training. You have to train your nervous system to recruit those fast-twitch muscle fibers rapidly across the entire kinetic chain, and you have to do it with absolute explosive intent.
Section 5. The Condensed Conjugate Method. Now, as a fighter, your home is on the mats, right? So you literally cannot live in the weight room. This method is a real game changer because it boils your strength work down to just 2 highly focused sessions a week. It perfectly balances maximum effort lifting to build that raw baseline strength with dynamic effort lifting to build your explosive speed. It's incredibly effective because it leaves you with enough physical energy and central nervous system capacity to actually practice your combat skills without burning out.
Let's move to and see how this builds our final conclusion. When we combine the physics, the mechanics, and the proper training, we arrive at one ultimate truth. Power isn't a strength problem. It's a coordination problem. True knockout force is entirely about sequencing your body perfectly and having the intent to snap your energy all the way through the target.
Which leaves us with this massive challenge for your next gym session. When you're on the bag, are you just pushing your punches using your arm muscles, or are you actually snapping the whip from the floor up? Take a hard look at your technique, completely rethink your training routine, and start applying this science to maximize your physical performance. Thanks so much for watching this explainer here on YouTube, and we'll catch you in the next one.